Welcome back, friends, to another episode of 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. That's right, it's me, Gray Hair Dave. I'm back. What do you know about that? Right back on track with where we're supposed to be. How are you today? I'm hoping that you're doing well. I really do. I'm doing okay, and I hope you are too. So just to get through the formalities, again, I do have gray hair. I've got a gray beard. I've got a green shirt on today. I've got glasses like the guy in the artwork. And that's the way it always works right here on 5 Minutes with Gray Hair Dave. Now, I hope you're all doing well. I really, really do. So, what do you want to talk about today? Well, let me talk a little bit about 1983. I kind of wrapped up 1982 last week, and I think it all went well. You know how it is when you're just working and living, working and living, working and living. That's life, right? Well, 1983, let's start there. Let's start with some of the fun things that I enjoyed. Besides, I'll be honest with you, I was happily married, very happily married. Me and number one, we had a house. We were both working, having a good time. Had nice friends, good friends in the neighborhood. And we were just enjoying ourselves. We'd visit her mother because her father was out of the picture. Occasionally we'd see her brothers because she had two brothers. We'd visit my parents. My parents were still alive. And my brothers, we'd go see them once in a while too. And there was always, the holidays where you all got together. Occasionally we combined them at our house. But when you have dog, or dogs is plural, I think at that point we had two. Because when we came into the relationship, I had a dog. When we came into the relationship, I had a dog. It was a Cocker Spaniel. Oh, love Sandy. I had rescued her from the pound, as it were. And she was a great dog. Oh, just loved her to death. She well behaved and just easy to love. My parents loved her. She behaved better for my parents than she did for me. Every once in a while, if I was on a night shift, Mom and Dad would call and say, "Why don't you just leave Sandy with us this week?" Yeah, okay. I remember those days, and those were fun. But, when you're married, she wants things of her own too, and she brought this big old English sheepdog into the house. Oh, he was too big for our house. There's just no two ways around it. But what other things was I doing back in 83? So back in 83, what were the other things I was doing? I had great friends that I worked with at the mill, the paper mill. But I loved music. Still loved music. So what were the top songs back then in 83? The top songs were Every Breath You Take by the Police. Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. Now, you can give me all the grief you want to give me about my musical tastes, but I liked Billie Jean. I liked the song. Flashdance, What a Feeling. That was a good one by Irene Carrera. Down Under by Men at Work. I never got into Men at Work. I guess I didn't understand their premise. They were from Melbourne, Australia, if I'm not mistaken. And anyway, so the first one was Billie Jean by Michael Jackson. The second one was Beat It by Michael Jackson. Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Taylor. Bonnie Taylor, she had a husky voice, but that was a good song. Maneater by Hall & Oates. Let's see, Baby Come to Me by Patty Austin and James Ingram. That's still kind of the disco area or blues area. Maniac by Michael Sembello, yes. Michael Sembello. Sweet Dreams are made of these by the Eurythmics. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me by the Culture Club. Boy George was part of the Culture Club, and I could not get into Boy George. Don't know why. You and I by Eddie Rabbitt and Crystal Gale. Come On Eileen by Dexy's Midnight Riders. Oh, that was good. Never Gonna Let You Go by Sergio Mendes. She Works Hard for the Money by Donna Summer. Shame on the Moon by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Just Mr. Roboto came out by Styx. Toto came out with Africa that year. Jeopardy by the Greg Kihn Band. Putting on the Ritz by Taco. Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. Just so many great songs. And back then, you had three choices. Well, there's four, of course. Three choices for listening to music. There was LPs, which we now call vinyl, right? There were cassette tapes, which were oddly survived. And then you had 8-track tapes. And 8-track tapes, man, what a farce. I'm sorry. I had a bunch of them. I had an 8-track player in my van. I had an 8-track player in my truck. They were trying to replace cassettes. And these were 4 times the size of cassettes. So, of course, they took up more room. Another radio you had to buy. And it eventually, after a few years, they decided it was going to go away. We went back to cassette tapes again, which were much more manageable. The one advantage of 8-tracks is you could flip to a song. It would go song to song to song. Where if it's a cassette, you got to fast forward till you find it. And that's still the case today on cassettes. You don't find as many cassette players out there now. There was also reel-to-reel, but reel-to-reel was more of a professional thing in those days because reel-to-reel was replaced by cassette. And then, of course, there was the radio, right? Everybody listened to the radio. Everybody had their FM stations. My favorite was WRIF 101 in Detroit, 101.1 in Detroit. And, of course, everybody's favorite, Arthur Penhallow. Baby. It was a thing. If you grew up in Michigan and followed Arthur Penhallow, baby, he says it a whole lot better than I did. But there was also Magic Radio. But everybody listened to the radio. FM radio was big then. And if I'm not mistaken, there was, you could get, Walkmans, all that kind of fun stuff. But that was the music that I listened to back in the 80s. And granted, disco was still kind of there. It's on its way out, but it's not completely on its way out. And rhythm and blues, or what we now call R&B, is bigger now. And when I look at the likes of Patty Austin and James Ingram, right? And you have Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes, Kenny Rogers, Sheena Easton. You also have people like Peabo Bryson and Roberta Flack. Earth, Wind, and Fire. They were great. And they were more of a rhythm and blues kind of thing in R&B. Or it wasn't the prelude to hip hop, but it was definitely finding its way away from rock, away from easy listening, into its own thing. And that's one of the things that I liked about it. It was just another form of music that gave me joy. What were you listening to in 83? Do you remember? If you go into, just go into Google and type in what were the top songs in a certain year, and then it'll give you the Wikipedia option. It gives you all kinds of, what the top 10s were, actually, this will give you the top 100. So you can go deeper than that, but do me a favor, leave me a message on 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. That's the number 5minuteswithgrayhairdave.com. Let me know what you were listening to in 82, 83, in that area, in the early 80s. I'm curious. I want to know because I remember listening to a lot of music as we drove around, on the way to work or on the way home. And, you're talking to your spouse on the way to your parents' house or wherever it is you're going, or if you're going out for dinner. But that doesn't mean you were not listening to music too, right? So do me a favor, let me know what it was you were listening to. I'm curious. I really am. Hey, don't forget, if you know somebody who doesn't know what a podcast is, doesn't know how to find one, download one, play one, doesn't know what the app is on their phone, doesn't know how to follow or subscribe, do me a favor, do all of us podcasters a favor, and show them. And show them the different kinds of podcasts that they can listen to. Another thing is, don't forget to smile at somebody today, folks. You will make their day. You always do. You always make mine. So for all the guys up here in my wackadoodle head, you all have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.